welcome to this series where I show you what I'm doing to try and become a web developer. My name's Craig and this is week 12. Felt like it's been a pretty good week. I've made quite a lot of progress with Free Code Camp. I've started CSS battles and I've finished 2 websites. Although I do think I could have spent quite a bit more time on web development. Let's see how much time I have spent this week on web development. In total, I've spent 19 hours and 40 minutes, so not a great deal. And that's split up into 3 hours 55 for tutorials and 15 hours 45 for projects, a really heavy project week. So it's quite heavy on the projects because I've classed CSS battles and the intermediate algorithm scripting section of Free Code Camp's JavaScript module as projects. They're not really teaching you anything, it's more practicing your skills. So that's kind of why it is heavy on projects. Let's dive in to see what I've been learning this week. Since it's been quite a heavy project week, I haven't really learned anything new. In terms of Free Code Camp, I finished off functional programming and I'm about halfway through the intermediate algorithm scripting section. Again, all these are just reworking ones I've done previously. I'm getting to the point where I'm nearly up to the ones I haven't started. So I think there's about 4 or 5 in the intermediate algorithm scripting section, which I haven't completed previously. I've got 1 or 2 major projects left to do. Looking forward to completing that. I've started CSS battles. As I said last week, I've kind of felt that I've been struggling with my HTML and CSS slightly. So I've been wanting to focus on that. CSS battles is a great site. If you haven't used it, worth checking it out. Although I do feel that sometimes I'm using absolute values like pixels and making things look perfect. Whereas if I was building an actual site, I'd probably do it with percentages or something so it was a bit more responsive. One thing I did try to learn a little bit, what I touched on last week, was WordPress. This did not go well. I started one course on Skillshare, but I haven't finished it. And I started watching a video on YouTube, again by Free Code Camp. It was about a 5-hour video, or this one might have been 2 hours, I can't quite remember. I didn't watch all of it. I got in and it was straight into PHP, going into functions, not really explaining it. I just felt a little bit overwhelmed. So I've put that on pause for now. I did have another Fiverr request, which again I've turned it down. I probably shouldn't have, but I'm not sure. So this one, there was an issue with a mega menu. It seemed to work fine on mobile, desktop, but tablets, it just wasn't working properly. It would kind of remember what had been opened, and it was kind of skewing the list below it. But then when you clicked on a drop down, it blanked out the first one and the rest just didn't seem to work properly. So the guy wanted me to have a look at it. When I had a quick look, it used PHP, which I don't really know much about, but then it was Ruby on Rails, I believe it was, and there was just so many classes on each individual element. It was insane. I had a quick look and thought I don't really know where to begin on this bit. And because there's so many classes, I think they're fighting for priority or one thing's impacting another. So I told the guy I probably just couldn't do it, and I did send him a bit of code which I found was impacting the first line of the submenu. It was something to do with the width. Yeah, it was just really weird and there was too many classes. It did not look very clean at all, unfortunately. So I didn't really want to get my hands too dirty and go down a rabbit hole on that. That's kind of everything I've been learning. Let's dive over to the computer and see what I have been building. So this week I finished off my gym site finally. I built this Secret Santa kind of matching pairing thing. I don't know what to call it. I've done 12 CSS battles and a front-end mentor challenge. Let's dive right in and start with the gym site. So here we have the gym site. I've just opened everything already in different tabs to make things easier. So we've got the favicon. We haven't changed much on this front page. Again, this button doesn't quite work, but everything else should be fine. Actually, the sign up in my account go nowhere, so most things work. The classes page, I believe I've changed this ever so slightly, just a different layout on the larger desktop screens. If we go to mobile, it goes back to the normal layout. The gym, so I've added an image along the top. I've tried to make the pages look a little bit better to try and, grab the user a little. And again, I've got 3 columns here which shift depending on the size of the screen. Possibly a little bit too much space here, or this needs something. It just looks a little bit bland there. If we go again to mobile and tablet, you see we've got the columns are stacked. We go to tablet and it goes to 2 and 1. So I'm quite happy with that. The image, I believe, is background cover once it gets to tablet size, and it's contained on mobile. So I think that looks a lot better than what I had previously. Swimming, again, I've added another image and try to make it look a little bit better. It's not great. Still needs some work, I think. And again, on mobile, need to do something about the text size there. Yeah, something's gone weird there. Doesn't normally scroll like that. Interesting, have to check that one out. Personal trainers, again, this one's a bit bland. I wanted to put some images in there, but quite happy with the card style. Bit more text, and again, if this goes to mobile and tablet, it goes either columns, and yeah, it goes to 2 and 1. And that's pretty much everything for the gym site. The opening times haven't changed. I've got the favicon on, which I had last week. So generally, it's okay, but I think I still need to work on my design side of things. Next up, we have this Secret Santa generator. I was quite happy with this. It was just really fun to do something with JavaScript. It took me a little while to get all the logic working correctly, but I think I've got there in the end. So I do have I can't remember the thing, is it text shadow or box shadow around the words, just when it's like on mobile, the white on the white was just impossible to see, so I needed a little bit to make it stand out. I thought that looked alright. So how this works is you will add person a comma separated list. Person 4. I'm just going to copy that so we can run it again. You click create list, it says who's in the list, and this is all stored in local storage, which isn't great because, people want to search it on their own computer, whereas they'll have to do it on the one here. But then you will say, okay, I'm person 2, who am I buying for? And I'm buying for person 4. So I thought that was pretty cool. The next step is definitely to get a database up and running for this. I don't know how difficult that will be, but we'll see if I can manage it. Because I'd like this to go to a database with an ID. Then a person can say, okay, this is my ID, this is my name, who am I buying for? I think that would be a really good idea. So that's the end of the Secret Santa random matcher site. So on the CSS battles, I've only brought up 2 of them here. Most of them, these were really easy. Again, like I said, I probably used a bit too much code. There's some people that could do it in a lot less, but if it works, right? I'll get there eventually where I can write cleaner, more precise code. I brought up 2, which I struggled with. The fork and the wiggly mustache. So the issue I had was kind of getting the shape of the fork right and the tips of the fork. It took me a little while. It took me a few attempts. Initially, I think I started off with a box and I was going to add tips and spaces, but that was going to be too much. So I think I started with a square, which is rounded. and then I've added these little tips here. But yeah, it just took me a little while to get it looking quite right. The code that I have on my GitHub isn't quite the same as what I've used on CSS Battles, because I've added this kind of container class to make things centered and use the same proportion as what's in the CSS Battles. Again, the wiggly mustache, I had an issue with these kind of little bits on the end. You can tell they're slightly off. And it just took a lot of trial and error to make it look okay. Not brilliant, but it does the job. Next up, we have a front-end mentor challenge. This was just CSS and HTML. As I said, I wanted to practice my HTML and CSS a little bit. Last week I felt like I was struggling. So here I just wanted to try doing this full landing page. It is a junior challenge and quite a lot going on here. You got a lot of images, things grouped together, buttons, footer with display flex or however you wanted to do it. And the mobile is pretty similar with, things moving. So my Figma was fine. I got my general colors and set everything up how I thought it would look. The image that imported was a bit weird. It didn't fit the thing fully. So I just went with my full width thing. And again, desktop, everything looked fine. Generally, I was quite happy. It took me a little while playing around with Figma to getting things looking right, but it was a good practice. And this is my version, so we'll start off with mobile. And I did actually take a full screenshot of this and try to compare it. There's a few kind of white space issues compared to the original, but generally I was very happy with it. The buttons change on hover or click, which is one of the active states. The images look quite nice. And yeah, generally very happy. Like I say here, I could have done with a bit more padding between the elements. And these also go to a different color. So that is mobile. If we go to desktop, things change. So I used a helper class and quite a lot. I think I called it LG width. So not all of the sections use that. So here, that my LG width is, I think it's 60% width, and then I do a margin auto on left and right. So I've done it on this main section, on this section. Here I didn't do it. And I've got it there and down here. Everything else I've just left it as, I think it's 90%. And again, change these are display grid, and I changed it to columns. But I'm quite happy with how this went. It wasn't too difficult, there was a lot to go on, but I had quite a lot of fun. That's everything for week 12. Really enjoyed this week doing the projects, making progress with Free Code Camp. Next week, I will try and have a catch up with my uncle. He cancelled this week, so try and do it at the end of next. If not, it probably won't be till the new year, until we can have a proper sit down with it being so close to Christmas. I do really want to push forward with Free Code Camp. So close to getting the JavaScript section done. It would be great to get that finished. And CSS Battles, I want to continue improving my CSS there. One thing I'm very tempted to do is look a little bit into the back end side of things. With that Secret Santa side, I'd love to get that working with the database. I think that's a great idea, but that might be asking a lot. We'll see how it goes. All the links to everything will be down below if you want to check it out. As always, I'd appreciate your thoughts and comments. Just let me know down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big like. And if you'd like to see more, then please hit the subscribe button. I will catch you all later.